We are so excited and happy to announce that a live-action reimagining of Moana is in the works. Moana, Gramatala, the music, the dance, Tafiti, Pua the pig, the village, the beautiful, powerful ocean, and one more, what's that guy's? Oh!
And his name is John Cena!
All of a sudden, we are getting an influx of live-action remakes of popular animated pieces of media. Netflix can't stop remaking animes into live-action shows like One Piece and Cowboy Bebop, and now they're turning Avatar: The Last Airbender into a live-action show. Because that worked out so well the last time. Disney has released so many live-action remakes of classic 90s films and made so much money that now the company's theatrical slate isn't doing so hot, they decided they need to remake an animated movie from 2016. Coincidentally, 2016 is when Disney started this whole new trend, which was taking classic movies from their catalog and remaking them into CGI-heavy live-action remakes. The cartoon to live-action pipeline isn't anything particularly new. Hell, the Flintstones movie was released as a live-action movie in the 90s. But 2016 started the true proliferation and the new era of this all. Since then, we've gotten The Jungle Book, Beauty and the Beast, Christopher Robin, Dumbo, Aladdin, The Lion King, Maleficent 2, Lady and the Tramp, Mulan, Cruella, Pinocchio, Peter Pan and Wendy, and 2023's The Little Mermaid, just to name a few. Not all of these are without merit. Christopher Robin is more of a sequel to the Winnie the Pooh cartoons, as it starts with an aged-up Christopher Robin. Maleficent 2 is not really remaking Sleepy Beauty as much as it is just telling the story of the villain. I'm not saying these movies are good, but at least these aren't just taking the story of the original movie and simply translating it into a live-action film. I think this is why I have so many issues with these live-action remakes, and why I have to ask, do we need this? But before we move on, please make sure that you like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. Any little bit helps. I know the box office receipts might say we do, but I think if you look at the Little Mermaid's returns, you'll see that the need is dwindling. It's honestly amazing these movies did well in the first place. You have to imagine that's due to the high nostalgia and love people have for the original pieces. Nostalgia is fine and all, and I do love me some of these original 90s movies, like Aladdin and The Lion King, but relying on nostalgia alone is a mistake, and simply thinking you can make something live action is another. Look, I know some people have this weird idea about animation, how it's only for kids and therefore they can't watch it. That's another reason why these movies might have done well and why companies are pushing for these live action remakes, but it's just so misguided and so disrespectful to these movies and these animators, and there's no doubt the quality is lessened when translating to live action and when trying to make these fantastical movies. That feature is lessened as well. What I'm about to say has been well documented. Just compare the character designs and emotions from the original Lion King to the 2019 remake. There's basically no emotion in the new one. Mufasa dies and the characters look like they're not reacting at all. Compare that to the original, where you can feel the pain and the fear and the sadness throughout all the characters' faces. It's also funny they tried to pass off the 2019 Lion King as a live-action movie when clearly it was CGI, but that's for another day. Then compare the Friend Like Me sequence from the original Aladdin compared to the new version. I like Will Smith just fine, but the Robin Williams sequence clears the 2019 version by miles and miles. There's so much artistry, so many beautiful shots, and there's never a hint of uncanny valley like there is with the blue Will Smith. It's a lot easier to tell what's happening, it's not fucking dark as shit, and the energy keeps up with Williams' energy. This is not to take away from the CGI artists from any of these movies. They're underpaid, overworked, and taken advantage of through and through. It's very likely the animators of the 92 film, while still probably underneath a crunch, had more time than the CGI artists, which Disney routinely loves to have throw out all of their work and start anew with very little time left in production. Being hand-drawn animation and not a live-action CGI hybrid also allows them far more control over everything that is being shown, how fast or slow things are happening, how things look, etc. With that said, and the credit being given to the CGI artists, I'm just simply comparing how the sequences look, and there's no doubt to me that the 1992 film is simply better looking, and there's something lost in the live-action version. I'm reminded of the motorcycle sequence from Incredibles 2. The action here, the direction Brad Bird utilizes, simply couldn't be done in live action. While Incredibles 2 isn't being remade in live action yet, this shows what is lost when you translate animation to live action. You lose the control. You lose being able to put the camera literally wherever you want it. You lose the ingenuity. Compare this to most action scenes in superhero movies nowadays. There's no doubt this clears it due to the lost control these creators have over live action. Also, meow. You also tend to lose what makes these characters and properties work when you translate animated works to live action works. It's funny that even though people shy away from cartoons because they're not adult enough, the aspects that gave these properties maturity are stripped away when they become live action. Look no further for a better example than what the creators of the live action Avatar show have been saying to understand what I mean. In the last few weeks since the trailer for the show was released, they've said that Aang will not go on crazy adventures like he does in the show, and that Sokka will not be sexist. Let me explain that last one in a sec. Aang in the original show is constantly getting distracted and going on side adventures, or maybe purposely rejecting responsibility, and as the series goes on, you see him mature into someone who understands his importance and what he needs to do to save the world. Making him someone who is steadfastly focused on becoming the Avatar right away strips away his personality and his potential growth, and it turns him into someone that isn't Aang. And you're also not saving time. You're literally just as long as the original series with less episodes. What the fuck? With Sokka, I guess I can get where the live action creators are coming from, but it still strips away a character's potential arc in order to get brownie points with people who don't care or won't watch the show. Yes, Sokka is sexist to start off the show, and sure, it could be alarming to someone if they only watch the first few episodes, but he's not like that the whole time. In fact, you get to see Sokka grow in respect and rely on strong women throughout the show, and he's all the better at the end of the run for it. Taking away his growth, just makes for a boring, one-note, predictable character, and it gets away from the lessons of the cartoon. These are two very specific examples of somewhat small changes this show is making, but it's still interesting that the animated show is allowed and able to be more adult in its themes and lessons than the creators seem to be with this live-action version. But it's still apparent and interesting that these people feel like they need to dumb down these shows for a general audience, and it feels like this has happened with multiple adaptations over the years. I mean, Transformers films are probably a good example. On the topic of Moana, who even knows what is happening with that? They first announced a Moana sequel series for Disney+, then The Rock announced this live-action remake coincidentally after Black Adam bombed, and then a few weeks ago the sequel series was announced to be turning into a sequel movie that is supposedly coming this year, and the live action movie is apparently coming just 6 months or so after that. You think a movie, one that made over $600 million in its run, has undoubtedly sold gobs of merchandise and is possibly the most streamed movie ever, would be given some more respect, but because it's animation, there's this weird inherent lack of respect that comes out again and again for some reason. Disney is happy to sell the merch and create a theme park attraction and have Moana as a mascot of the company, but they can't just keep her as a beloved animated character because live action is somehow a more important medium. It's incredibly disrespectful and incredibly unnecessary. Animation is a beautiful craft, and it's given us so many amazing movies and characters and stories across its entire history. If someone can't get into at least one animated film or show, at least one character or storyline, that is their problem. They are not allowing themselves to fully experience fantastic pieces of art, to get out of their comfort zone and experience something new. All the more power to that person, I guess. But if someone needs a real person at all times in their media for them to even watch it, they are missing out. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.